So we're going to work today on, all parts of the body. We're definitely going to go after the hips a good bit and a little bit of balance towards the end. And we're going to work on just creating tension and how we do that. And don't worry, I only had about 4 ounces of coffee. I don't want to freak out on everybody, so keeping it chill. To start, we're going to do some breathing from a quadruped position. So here, hands under the shoulders, knees under the hips. And before we get into like the focused breathing, I also just want to work a little bit on pelvic positioning. So that can really affect our breathing. It can affect a lot of things. But I talk a lot about tucking and untucking, and I just want to make sure everyone is kind of on the same page here. So this will make it a little more clear, with the pelvis, when I say tuck, that's like if you had a tail and you're tucking your tail between your legs and you're doing this. So you guys can follow me here. This is tucking. Untucking would be the opposite, in kicking the tailbone back and up. So if you imagine your pelvis here, untuck and tuck. So tucking, untucking, and then you can practice doing it without getting too much movement through your spine. So I can get kind of a subtle tuck there. And you'll feel your abs kick on a little bit. And then when you untuck, you'll probably feel the muscles in your lower back especially working a little bit. Like that. So I just want to practice, get a few of these tucks and untucks while trying to keep your upper half of your body still. Alright, so we just want to work a little bit on that. Feel what it feels like. If it's tough to control and tough to isolate, that's okay. That's just something we can work on. Here we go. This is also a really good strategy if you're seated in a chair a lot. Just doing some pelvic tucks is going to get that spine moving a little bit, going to encourage some movement. So now what I want us to do is maintain this position and just do a slight tuck. You don't have to tuck all the way. Just do a little bit of a tuck of that pelvis. So abs are slightly on. And from this position, I want you to just take a nice big breath and big exhale. And big breath in. And big exhale. And when you breathe in, think about trying to really expand through your whole torso. You're breathing in like you're a balloon. Try to expand in all directions. And as you exhale, now start forcing more air out, and you'll feel your abs kick on a little bit more. Breathe in. And then exhale, feel those abs start to contract as you blow the last bits of air out. We'll do a couple more here, just breathing in as much as you can, as much expansion as possible. And exhale. You might notice a little bit more tuck happens as you force that exhale. And then we can relax. So maybe you found it a little bit tough to force a lot of the air out. Maybe you found it tough to expand in all directions. All good information. And that breathing is going to help us with movement as well. So now we're going to work on some irradiation, some creating tension. And I'm actually going to have us stand up. So here, if you have a block, we're going to use that. And so you can just kind of hold it in one hand, and if you have a ball, you can hold that in the other. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to toss up the ball. I'm going to serve it to you, and then someone's going to have to return it. There you go, Adam's ready. So what I'm going to have us do is first, try to keep the rest of your body relaxed. Take the ball in whichever hand you would like, and I just want you to squeeze the ball. Just using your hands, squeeze the ball. See how tightly you can squeeze it. Okay, just observe how that feels, and then relax. Now, what I'm going to have you do is squeeze the block with this hand, create tension through your arm, and then squeeze the ball. See if you can squeeze the ball with a little bit more force. Generally, as we start to use more of our body tissues, we can create a stronger contraction. Now we can relax. Now what we're going to do, if you have a block, is put it between your thighs, between your knees. Okay, I want you to have a really solid position, little tuck of the pelvis. Start squeezing the block between your thighs. Get really solid through your thighs. Take a little breath. I want you to feel like you've got some pressure here in your abdomen. You're not holding your breath, but you're keeping pressure. Keep pressure. You've got tension throughout much of your body. Squeeze your hand without the ball. Let that tension spread up into your chest and shoulders. Now, squeeze the ball as hard as you can, gradually ramping it up, keeping tension in the entire rest of your body. Try to create even more tension through the legs. Squeeze the knees, squeeze the thighs. Keep squeezing the ball. 3, 2, 1, relax. So generally, as we start to engage more, we actually have a greater capacity for producing force and tension at our moving part. So now, go ahead and switch hands. So we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to do what we just did, except with the other hand. So we'll get the other hand working too. So squeeze with your thighs, create lots of tension, gradually create tension. Imagine it spreading through your entire body, making a fist with the non-ball hand. Feel that tension spread up into your shoulder, into your chest. Everything's solid. It's like if you were turning to cement. Now squeeze with the other hand, gradually ramping that effort up. And hold. Oh, we got a new person. There we go. And relax. So observe the differences. You might feel differences side to side, but if you are able to create tension through your entire body, your moving part and the part you're focusing on is going to have more available force. So when we do things like cars, if we're doing them with high intensities, if you create a lot of tension through your body, you're going to have better ability to move and move with force through the rest of your body, through your moving joint. So that being said, we're actually going to come down. We're going to work on more tension creation or irradiation. And we get to do some planks. So Lisa, you got to do these. We got to do these on whatever day it was. It's hard to know what time is now. So what we're going to do is come down on the forearms, okay? And then I'll demonstrate first, and then I'll have you do it. We're going to do 2 reps. So it's going to look like this. We're going to tuck the pelvis. We're going to drive the fists down, okay? And I just want you to try to create as much tension as you can through your body. So we're here. Tuck your pelvis. Press the fists down into the floor. And I want you to try to create even tension throughout your whole body. Legs are squeezed. Fists are pressed through the floor. 3, 2, 1, and relax. Now, just like with a lot of the movements we do, you can create more tension within yourself. So the harder you press down into the floor, the more tension you create. The harder you focus on squeezing your legs, the more you'll create. We're going to add an element to this as long as you're comfortable with it, and that's going to be, don't do it yet, because I'll walk you through it, but what it's going to be is you'll create that tension driving down, and then you'll use these tissues to imagine you're pulling your elbows towards your toes, but you're not really moving, so that's going to create more tension through your body, and we're going to hold that for about 10 seconds. So go ahead and come down, tuck the pelvis tight, dig the fists into the floor. Now try to pull your elbows towards your toes. Your lats are working, keeping full body tension. hold it, squeeze the legs, squeeze the glutes. 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Awesome. So that's fun because you don't have to, first off, you don't need to be holding planks for more than like 20 seconds. If you can create a lot of tension, you can get a lot out of a 10 or 15 second plank. And that helps create a lot of stability throughout our midsection, throughout our torso, which is going to help the other segments move better. So now we're going to move the other segments. We're going to work on the hips. So I'll show you real quick. I'm going to do some fun, feel-good hip movement. So it's going to be like this, and your knees are going to stay roughly the same place, but they can move a little bit. Right now, I want you to go external rotation, internal, and just back and forth. You don't have to create too much tension. I just want you rotating those thighs, and what I like to do is every time I cross in front for external rotation, I just alternate which leg is on top. All right, so we're going to spend about 30 to 40 seconds here. Start slow, rotating those hips. We're warming them up. This is a nice feel-good one. If you wake up and you feel like you need to move those hips a little bit, you can do this before you even get out of bed. Just make sure you don't kick anybody. Now what you can do is make it a little bit more fun, and what I'm doing is I'm using a little bit of momentum and I'm kind of swinging back and forth. Doesn't have to be perfectly disciplined, but the more you practice this, the easier it becomes, and it kind of feels good. You'll feel your ankles kind of going along for the ride. We're going to go about 10 more seconds here. Yeah. 3, 2, 1, and then you can relax there. All right. So I really like that one for just getting a lot of hip movement in a way that generally feels pretty good. So you can take a breather here for a moment, and then we're going to do some scapular cars from a quadruped position. So we were here already. Now we're back. And what I want to do here is with your spine, we just don't want that to move. So if you keep a little bit of tension in the abdomen, in the midsection, that'll help. We're going to keep the elbows straight, and I like to have the hands either right under the shoulders or a little bit forward, depending on what's comfortable for you. And we're going to pinch the shoulder blades together like this. So you'll pull yourself towards the floor and press away from the floor. Feel what that feels like. Pinch and press away. Excellent. And we want to maintain a pretty neutral position with our spine. Just take your time. See how far you can pull in. Elbows staying straight. Mine bent a little bit. See how far you can push away without rounding your spine. You'll feel your pecs and shoulders working a bit. A couple more here. Pull in. There we go. Press away. So many muscles attached to our shoulder blades, our scapula. So it's really, really helpful if we can get them to move well. Take a moment. You can relax the arms for a second. And then we're going to do elevation and depression of the shoulder blades. So that's going to be essentially moving them forward and back on a track. And here, especially coming down, we have a tendency to arch the back. So think about keeping the spine solid. It's like your shoulder blades are moving on a track towards the ears, towards the hips. So shrug up towards the ears, pull back towards the hips. Shrug up toward the ears, pull back toward the hips. And we'll do a few more here. Go as far as you can. Really explore as long as it's not painful. Explore where you can go. Keeping the spine nice and still. There we are. Notice any differences you might feel. one side to the other. Good. And then we can relax there, and we're going to work a little bit more with the hips. So this one I'm excited for. We're going to do internal and external rotation for the hip with a little bit of pressure. So I'll show you from this angle. What I'm going to do, you can do whatever you want with your other leg. I've got a wall here, so I'm just going to put it away. And we're going to do the external and internal rotation, but with a little pressure. So I'm going to pull my left knee up to about 90 degrees. I'm going to press into it with my left arm. You could use whichever arm you want. You could use both. So I'm fighting slightly. Hip flexor, quads, abs are working. I'm trying to pull my knee into my hand. With that pressure, and think like 20-30% of your max effort, while holding the pressure, we're going to rotate your hip externally and internally. Okay, so we're going to spend about 40 seconds here. It will get a little bit fatiguing. If you start to get really fatigued or feel like you're cramping through your hip flexor or your quad, your abs, just ease some of that pressure. You don't have to push as hard. This is going to naturally create more tension. You might find you can get a little more range of motion. It's also going to keep your thigh and knee in a similar position, so you're probably going to have less compensation, which is cool. We're about 9 seconds in. Almost there. 3, 2, 1. Relax there. Take a couple nice easy breaths. There we go. And this is one, you can work as hard or as easy as you want here. If one hip is a little bit more temperamental, you can go a little easier. So now we'll bring that right knee up. Same deal, give a little pressure so it's fighting against the hand. These front side tissues are working. And then we're rotating externally and internally with the hip. There we go. So if you're feeling aggressive, if you really want to push it, you could push harder into your thigh and really fight that, create more tension. It's going to make your thigh work harder, it's going to make your abs work, and of course your arm too. Observe where you're getting here with this rotation. How does this compare to the other side? How does it feel? There we go. 3, 2, 1, and you can relax there. All right. Very nice. Take a little breather. Okay, so that's a great way to get the hips warmed up. And then we get to do the spine. So we're going to do cat-cows again from this quadruped position. And now that we've worked on the pelvis and we worked on the shoulder blades, we're going to work on spine. So from here, the one thing we want to make sure is that we're not moving our shoulder blades instead of our spine. So to kind of get them locked in, we're going to protract, pressing them away. So we did our retraction, protraction, press away, and you're going to keep them pressed away the whole time. Now from here, droop as much as you can through your spine while keeping those shoulder blades pressed away. There we go. And then we're going to start tucking the pelvis and then the low back, working from lower all the way up to your upper back and to your chin. Hold that for a moment. Whoop. There we go. And then you're going to go untucking from the pelvis. So, pelvis starts untuck, droop through the lower back, the mid back, the upper back, and you can look up with your chin if you'd like to. Keep those shoulder blades pressed away though. And we're going to go again leading with the pelvis, nice and slow. Slowly try to tuck your pelvis. Round, imagine those lower back muscles stretching. Round through your mid back upper back, and then you can tuck. And then we're going to untuck one more time. Hold the rounding in the upper back. Droop through the low back slowly. Work your way to the mid. Feel those tissues now on your backside contracting to pull you into that spinal extension. Good. Relax for a moment. Take a breath. You may take two as well. And then we're going to do the same thing, but leading with the neck and the upper back. Okay, so same deal. We want the shoulder blades pressed away the entire time. We're in extension. We're drooped. You're going to slowly round the neck, tucking the chin. Let that spread to the upper back. There we go. Mid back, lower back, and then tuck the pelvis. Keep those abs on, keep that rounding, and you're going to look up with your head. Droop through the upper back, but the shoulder blades don't move. Feel those tissues in the upper back contracting. Spread to the mid, the lower back, and then untuck the pelvis. Nice. One more time. Tuck your chin. We're slowly rounding through the mid. Rounding, rounding, rounding. Imagine your vertebrae are like spines. You're like a stegosaurus. Okay, there we go. And then you're looking up with your head. Drooping down. Imagine each vertebrae now pinching just a little closer together, one by one. Working your way to your low back. Untuck your pelvis. Whew. Okay. Very fun. Next up, we're going to work on the shoulders, internal and external rotation. So, you can grab your ball, if you have a ball, or a block. It's just something to squeeze. I want you with something to squeeze, and we are going to stand up. Okay. So, let's start with the right arm. Okay, and we're going to do external and internal rotation. So your elbow's going to be about 90 degrees. As long as it's comfortable, I want that straight out to your side, like so. And we're going to rotate internally, rotate externally. Okay, you might get further than me, you might not. One range might be a little different. Right now, I just want you hanging onto that ball with no real urgency. You're just gripping it, but not tightly. Okay, try to go slowly through your full range of motion without too much effort. Just observe what you're feeling. And as you're doing this, again, think about your spine. Try to be kind of a neutral pelvic position. There's a tendency that as we go through this, the spine starts to get involved. Okay, now, same arm, I want you to gradually, with each rep, create a little more tension. So we worked on this earlier. Squeeze that ball a little tighter, create some tension through your legs and torso. And what you may find is that you're able to get a little bit more range of motion. But I do want you to make sure that you're not pushing through any pain. If you encounter a range that's either painful or feels unstable, slow down and stop before you hit that range. If it's just a little bit of instability, you might be able to push through, but I do not want you to push through the pain. A little tighter now. See if you can go high level of tension. High level of tension. Squeeze out as much range as you can. Your whole body should be creating a bit of tension here. Good. Go one more each direction. If your shoulders generally feel great and you're just looking to add more stability, you could also do this with a light weight. You can relax there for a moment. Whew. But I would caution you with using too much weight too soon. We can, as you know, create an enormous amount of tension with very little. So now, other arm, same deal, straight out to the side. And we're just going to start off nice and easy. Nice and easy. I've been working on my shoulder, by the way, so some of you may notice This is more internal rotation than I've ever had. Very exciting. There we are. So right now, starting off fairly easy. You don't want to be pushing through any real pain. Some discomfort or some muscles that feel a little achy or tired, that's different. Now gradually we're gripping a little bit tighter. Create some more tension through the rest of your body. And rotate as far as you can, trying to keep the shoulder blade pretty still. Okay, so another tendency, including movement in our spine, is to, as we go here, we let that shoulder blade dump, or as we go here, we extend. 1 or 2 more reps here, high tension, squeeze as long as that feels okay. There we are. And then you can relax. Okay. Awesome. Shake those out a little bit. So we are very intimately aware of our internal and external rotation right now. We're going to do some double shoulder cars. Very fun. You don't need a ball for this. I am going to kneel because I'm just so tall. Okay, so you can stand. You can be in whatever position you'd like. If you'd like to kneel, standing is fine too. So we're here. We're going to go like this, crossing our arms. Reach up, up, up. As we reach as high as we can, we're going to start internally rotating, turning the palms away, reaching back behind us, way back, way back. Then we're going to come down to our sides and reverse. Start reaching back, externally rotate, reach up as high as you can, way up, and then you're going to start crossing in front, biceps brushed by the face. Your arms are kind of like scissors here. And down. And we'll do 2 more here. So we're crossing, reach up, and your arms are going to start to spread apart as you reach up overhead. Internally rotate. Reach back behind you, trying to keep those arms as close to your body as you can. Slowly coming down to the side. Reverse, back. As you hit that resistance, that's when we're starting to externally rotate. And we're fighting for more external rotation. Reaching up. Crossing. Pecs and shoulders are working as we pull down. Take a moment, 1 more. Try to create a little bit more tension here. You can squeeze your fists, reach up. Yes, as high as you can go. Internally rotate. Feel those shoulders turning. Reach back behind you. Fight for more internal rotation. Reverse. Externally rotate. Reach up, 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 way overhead. Feel those pecs and shoulders working as you're crossing, slowly pulling down. Nice. Okay, if your shoulders are feeling a little tired, that's normal. You can take a moment. And then we get to do some more stuff for the hips. So, wonderful. So we're going to go into a half kneeling position with our left knee down, right leg up. We're going to be in here. It won't be super long, but if you need a little padding, this is a good time to get it. A little extra padding for your knee. So from this position, I want to start out finding a nice stretch to your quad and hip flexor. So we worked on that pelvis. What I want you to do is tuck the pelvis, squeeze that left glute, and just get nice and tall. Take a couple breaths. Take a couple nice easy breaths. What we're going to do, and don't do it yet, you just hang out. What we're going to do is use the muscles of our legs and our core to pull ourselves into a deep stretch. Then use the muscles of our leg to drive ourselves back. And we'll even push back a little bit like that. So we're actively pulling in and out of a stretch. We're going to do it 3 times. Then we'll take a little break, and then we'll do the other side. All right, with your back foot, you can have the toes pointed, flexed, whatever feels good and whatever helps keep you stable. And if you need to hold on to anything, you certainly can. All right, so keep that pelvis tucked. You want to keep those abs on a little bit, glute squeeze the whole time. If you'd like, you can bring that right leg forward a little bit so you have more leverage to pull. You're going to use some of these muscles to pull yourself forward, slowly pulling in, controlling every inch. Doesn't matter how far you get. I want you to pull as far as you are comfortable with and where you can maintain control. Now, drive down and away through that right foot to push yourself back. Push back. Glute stays on. As you get tall, see if you can push back a little bit from where we started, and you'll get more of a stretch through here. Now we're pulling forward again. Slowly, with that right leg, pull yourself forward. You can even help with the left. You could push yourself as well into a deep stretch. Pulling, pulling, pulling. As deep as you can go without pain. Drive down and away to slowly push you back. Imagine I'm behind you, pushing on your back, and you have to drive back against me. As you all know, I'm pretty mean like that. Okay, and then we'll go back just a little more. And one more time, pulling forward. I am excited for in-person sessions again where we can partner up and you can fight each other. It'll be great. Pull forward as much as you can go here, as much as you can control. Try to keep some tension in that left glute as we drive back now. As we drive back, find that stretch as you tip slightly and relax. Okay, shake that out a little bit. What we're going to do before the other side is just some knee rotation. So sometimes that can be a little tough on the knees. Okay, so what I'm going to have us do is just sit, and we're going to just nice and easy rotate those shins as much as we can. In and out. All right. So that half kneel position, that's a good one. A lot of people have a lot of tension through the hip flexors and the quads. And a lot of it can have to do with us being unstable in that position, not being able to produce strength. So by actively pulling ourselves in and out of the stretch, we're producing force and strength through that full range. We have a better chance of reducing tension long term. And if you're going slowly and actively through it, you're less likely to end up in a position that your body is unsafe in. Couple more here. Try to rotate as far as you can with these shins. All right. And now we get to switch. So we're going to go with our right knee down, left leg forward. Here we go. Same deal. I did not mention this on the other side, but if you don't feel super stable here, you can absolutely hold on to something or someone because the more stable you are, the more force that you can produce. So tuck that pelvis. Squeeze that right glute. Get tall as much as you can. Try to hold a nice stretch. If you have a lot of tension through this area and your body doesn't feel super stable, you might not be able to get super tall without a really extreme stretch. So that's okay. If this is where you need to be, that is fine. Okay, now you can move your left foot forward a little bit. Start actively pulling yourself into this deep stretch. Slowly, actively pull yourself in. Keep tension through your legs. At the end of your range, drive down and away through that left leg to push you back. Slowly coming up tall. And even tip back a little bit if you can, keeping that pelvis tucked. Yes, and now pulling forward. Sometimes I like to use my arms for visualization. Like I'm pulling a rope. Pull yourself forward through that left leg as far as you can go. Max that out. Drive down and away through the left heel to push yourself slowly back up. And even back a little bit if you can make it happen. Good. And one more time. Keep tension. Solid here. Imagine at any point someone could come over and try to knock you over. Okay, keep tension through your body. Good. Slowly drive away. Slowly drive away. Up tall. Pelvic position stays solid. We're slowly coming back. And then you can relax. Okay. Very nice. Very nice. Next up, we're just going to do another something relatively easy for the knees. Take a little bit of a load off. We're just going to do lying down, knees pulling up, full extension, full flexion. So the knees don't have to be way up like this. We're just going to spend about 40 seconds here giving those knees some feel-good movement. There we are. Again, if that half-kneeling position isn't super comfortable for you, particularly on the knees, adding extra cushion can be helpful. Holding on to something to take a little strain off can be helpful as well. Anytime you're getting pain with something, it's going to inhibit your ability to produce force. It's going to send non-ideal signals to the brain. We'll just go for one or two more here. There we go. Okay. And you can take a moment, and then we are going to work on some hip extension. So, this is fun. For the hip extension, we have a couple things that we can do. Ideally, we don't want our spine moving. So we'll start with a quadruped position. So what I'm going to have you do is down here, you're going to stay solid through your spine. Step your left leg back, like so. Good. And now, trying not to move anything here at your pelvis or your spine, you're going to try to lift your left foot straight up and back down. Okay, and what you'll feel ideally is the glute and the hamstring on that side working a little bit. Now think about tucking that pelvis a little bit first. Boom. Try to maintain that tuck. Can you lift? And down. Nice. And we'll do another one. Lift. And down. And then, for the next couple, I want you to feel a squeeze in your glute, squeeze in your hamstring before you even try to lift. So try to engage those tissues first, if you can. Then lift. And down. And really, you're not going to get a whole lot of movement if you're staying really stable through your back. So now, go ahead and switch up the legs. All right, I'll switch sides here. So you're going to kick the right leg back, and we'll test that one. So first, just nice and easy, you're going to, however you need to, lift. And you can see from me, like I'm letting my back move a little bit. So now, tuck that pelvis, abs on a little, lift and squeeze, and down. And we'll do a couple more here now, focusing on trying to Squeeze the glute, squeeze the hamstring before you even start lifting. Good. So ideally, we just want a little bit of movement there at that right hip. Everything else staying stable. And you can relax there. Okay. So we're going to, if you're able to, and it's comfortable for your knees, we're going to modify the position a little bit to actually minimize potential for compensation. So we'll go back to the left leg. If this is not comfortable for you, you can do the first version, okay? Or you can do somewhere in between. So what I'm going to do is I'm here, and I'm going to sit back a little bit. Okay, so just sitting back like this. And what that's going to do is it's going to not allow my spine to move, basically. And it's going to be tough to lift. So now, if I try to lift, I'm going to kind of put my arms out like this for some stability. It's going to be tough to lift. It might put a little strain on that bottom knee, so just be mindful of that. If that's not super comfortable, you can rock forward a little bit. The more you're rocked back and collapsed down, the less your spine and pelvis are going to be able to compensate. So if you're able to stay down low and able to get a little lift off, you'll probably notice it's very tough, and you really feel that glute. All right, see if we can get a couple lift-offs. Hold for 3 to 5 seconds. Good, at a challenging position for you. There we go. Relax for a moment there. And then we're going to come up. We're going to stay on this leg, and we're doing something else fun. So I'll show you kind of from this angle, okay? So you can come up, we can come fairly upright, you can sink down slightly, but I don't want you all the way down. And what we're going to do is a hover. So I'm going to try to draw a rainbow with my left foot, like that, and like that. Okay, so I want us to spend about 40 seconds here drawing a rainbow. Okay, solid position. You're scraping against your end range there, and I want you to imagine it's just your hip. So it might be a really small, sad rainbow. Just kidding, it's happy because you're working at your end range. There we go. Think about trying to keep your pelvis tucked. Try to keep your body solid. It's like you're hovering up and over something nice and smooth. Try to keep tension on the back of your leg, the glute and hammy. 3, 2, 1. Relax. Whew. Okay, take a little breather there. Shake the legs out. Nice. So that can be a tough one, and it is important just to work at a position that's comfortable for you. So we're going to work on that right leg again, and this time, as we did with the left, wherever you were comfortable with. If you can collapse down a little bit, great. And try to get stable. Okay, I like to make my arms out wide. And we're just going to explore, start off with some short lifts. Kind of play around with that position at which you can lift off. It's not painful, but it's challenging. So it might be way collapsed down, it might be a little bit forward. Once you find that position and you get a couple lifts, then I want you to do a little bit longer. So you're going to lift and hold for a few seconds, pushing against that end range, and relax. And we'll lift and hold for a few seconds. Good. Go for wherever you are. Go for one more here. One more rep in this position. Good. And then we're going to find a comfortable position to do the rainbows, the hovers. Okay? So, you're going to be wherever you need to be, nice and stable. And you're going up and over. Up and over. Try to keep that pelvis tucked. Keep some tension in your abdomen. And kick that knee straight. So another tendency is for us to try to move our knee instead of our hip. So your leg is just a cement block. The only place there's a hinge for it to move is at your hip. Good, a few more here. Feel that glute working. This is great. 3, 2, 1, and relax. Okay. Very nice. Very nicely done. And then we are going to come up to standing. All right, so we're going to work a little on the upper body. Some of you have done this one before. I really like this. So we're going to clasp our hands. All right, and think about keeping it, again, pretty neutral position here at the pelvis. You can bend the knees slightly. I'll give you the quick version, is we're going to pull our hands apart and row forward and back. So imagine you're pulling against resistance. So you're going to clasp your fingers, grip, try to pull them apart so you're creating tension through your shoulders. Imagine you're trying to unstick your hands, punch them forward. Now, elbows stay straight, draw your shoulder blades back, and punch them forward again. Draw your shoulder blades back, punch them forward. Now, slowly draw them back. The elbows bend, and you're pulling your fists, your hands towards your chest. Pull straight into your chest. Slowly punch away now. Drive away from your body. Slowly extend the elbows. Then the shoulder blades protract, punch forward. Pelvis stays solid. Draw the shoulder blades back. Elbows follow, pull right into your chest. Right into your chest. We're going to go for another one. Punch out, like you're fighting through something. Still trying to pull the hands apart. Lots going on here. We're multitasking. Punch forward, protract. One more. Draw the shoulder blades back. Elbows follow. Keep pulling the hands apart. Keep pulling. Imagine you're pulling your hands through your chest. And relax. Okay. So, horizontal rowing, pulling. That's so good for your arms, so good for your shoulders. You don't even need any extra resistance. All right? Take a breather. It's a little hard to breathe sometimes through that. And then we're going to do split squats. Yes, very, very fun. So, I'll do another quick little time lapse. Okay, so it's going to be like this. Boom, pull down, drive up, pull down, drive up. So we're going to do 2 reps. It's going to be reminiscent of our half kneeling. We're going to use the muscles to pull ourselves down and drive back up, but nice and slow. So, right leg forward, left foot is back, up on the balls of our feet. Legs can be about hip width apart. Okay? And I want you to tuck your pelvis. Try to maintain a bit of a tuck there. Okay, you're going to start using the muscles of your legs to pull yourself straight down. Straight down towards the floor. You're going to feel a stretch. As low as you can go without pain or discomfort. If you can go all the way down, go for it. At the bottom, we're going to start, it's like we're revving our engines. Those legs are working, 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 and then we're slowly going to come back up. Slowly working up, up, up. Keep solid through the pelvis and the torso. One more time, slowly pull down. No sense of urgency here. All right, create tension. Actively pull yourself down. You're lowering, lowering, lowering. Once you get to your basement, you're not moving yet, but you're using more effort. Thighs are working, working, working. Now they're coming up. Now they're coming up. 3, 2,
1. Relax, shake them out. I used to have a client who would always say, that's not trivial. And that's one of those that's not trivial. Take a couple breaths here. Okay? More beauty in this is that you can make yourself feel like there's way more resistance, and you don't even need extra weights. So we're going to do the same thing, other side. Again, if you want to grab something for extra stability, that's absolutely fine. You can still get a ton out of this. So we're going to go with that split stance up on the right toes, the right ball of the foot. Find a stable position. Tuck that pelvis. We're going to slowly pull down. Slowly pull down, actively. Use those thighs. Pull, pull, pull. Pelvis staying solid. Once you hit your basement, you're going to intend to drive up, but don't move. Revving the engines of our thighs. Boom, 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 boom. Slowly coming up. Slowly coming up. Drive, drive. 3, 2, 1. Don't worry, we get to do one more. Pelvis stays tucked. Last one. Here we go. Actively pulling down. Actively pulling. Use those thighs. Pull yourself down. Slowly reach your basement. Revving the thighs. We're not moving yet, but they're working. Now they're driving us up. Now they're driving us up slowly. 4, 3, 2, 1. Whew. Awesome. Shake them out. Great work. All right, we're almost there. I want to do 2 more things, 2 more fun things. Okay, and in case you're curious, this is by my definition of fun, not the Merriam-Webster definition. So, we're going to do another plank thing with a little hip extension. So, just like we did in the beginning, we're not doing the pull though. So we're going to do a plank with alternating leg lifts. Your focus being on using these tissues to lift. So I'll demonstrate real quick. I want to stay solid here. Boom, leg lift, leg lift. And notice my intent is to move from here, not from my spine, not from my knees. Okay, so it's just a really small lift, slowly alternating. All right, ready? Boom, boom. Step the legs back. Tuck that pelvis, create some tension through your midsection. And we're going to lift, set down, lift, set down. Focus on keeping the spine and pelvis as still as you can. Maintain even tension throughout your body. But you're going to feel a little more there in your glutes as you go to lift. Pull the hip up. Pull the hip up. Knees stay straight. Nice, a few more here. Don't let that pelvis drop. 4, 3, 2, 1. Whew. Okay. Take a couple breaths. You may take 3 if you want. The final thing we're going to do here is a little bit of balance work. I'm going to try and make it fun. So if you have a block or something similar, we're just going to do some pickups. Okay, so standing on one leg. All right, we're going to take a minute to boom, boom, just like that. Okay? You can do it however you want. You can put the block flat on the floor to go a little further. You can reach it out away from your body if you'd like to. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll slowly make it go in a circle to change the angle. Okay, so we're just trying to find the edge of our ability. If setting it down and picking it up is tough, you can hold on to it as well the whole time and just try to point towards a different direction. You could use a different hand. That's going to change things. Okay, you can go behind you. And go a little bit longer here. There we go. Go for one more pickup. One more pickup on this side. Shake it out. Nice. Another opportunity here, observe what angles tend to be more challenging. And now when we switch legs, how does that feel by comparison? So, other leg here, we're going to do our pickups. Again, you can, whichever leg you want to use, whichever hand, or I'm sorry, whichever, these are arms, whichever arm you want to use. You could use the ball, and you could try balancing something on it. Whoop. Get creative with it. If you find that just standing on one leg is challenging enough, you don't need to add too much movement to it. Okay, our goal is to find a challenging but doable activity here. Woo. We'll go for one more pickup. And then you may relax. All right. So final, I lied, that wasn't the last thing. Final thing, we're going to do a little bit of breathing. You can really be in whatever position you'd like to be. What I like, especially at the end, is lying down, knees bent, just relaxed position. So whatever position you decide, go ahead and lie down. Take a few nice normal breaths. Whatever you're feeling, allow that heart rate to start slowing down. Try to gradually, consciously slow down your breathing rate. Good. And now I want you to focus on breathing through your nose if you can. Inhale for 4 seconds. Try to exhale for 6 seconds. See if you can inhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And just repeat for a minute here. Slower breathing and longer exhales help to promote more parasympathetic, resting states within us. After any training, after anything stressful, this is a really nice way to bring us back down to more of a resting state. If breathing that slowly is challenging, especially through the nose, that's totally okay. I just want your intent to be to slow it down and get a longer exhale than inhale. All right. And you are all done for the day. So excellent work, everybody.